Hey, how's it going everyone? Here today with the Mecha Godzilla 1993 and Garuda and Fire Rodan, the Makuhari Decisive battle version. This is something that they've been doing for a while. It's basically a re-release of older figures, maybe with updated paint jobs or some other accessories, and it's under the title of Decisive Battle Version. We've had the 91 Godzilla, I think it's the Mecha Godzilla, not Mecha Godzilla, Mecha King Ghidorah, and so forth. So this is a bit of a controversial figure release maybe. Mecha Godzilla himself, this is the third time he's been released. He is one of the first ones, maybe the second or third, to come out for the S.H MonsterArts line. And then he had, I think, a normal re-release, and he also had a poster version, which is, I think there was a time with the Ken line, slightly bigger from memory. Now the original one I don't believe came with Garuda. It came as a separate add-on, and then I think the initial re-release came with it combined, and then there's the poster version. I think this is like the fourth version of Mecha Godzilla 1993 that we've had, and for someone like me that doesn't have either of these characters, it's great actually. But my friend who has Garuda and Mecha Godzilla, but he doesn't have Fire Rodan. He's been itching, he's been hoping Tamashii would release Fire Rodan, do a re-release. And when they do, they come with the figures that he already has, and he wasn't really keen to get the pack. He did cave in the end. So I feel like there's the downside with this combo pack. If you have one or the other, you know, the price point is definitely up there. So you may not be getting, you know, the greatest deal for the price point, but if you're like me who doesn't have either, then it's a great pickup. And yeah, for those in Japan or buying online, this was a premium bundle in Japan. And yeah, if you're overseas, you should be getting yours soon. Hopefully, if you ordered it from normal retail overseas, expect around probably February next year. Now on the back we do have a nice selection of images showcasing Mecha Godzilla along with Garuda attached to his back, Fire Rodan, the battle damaged head, and the stands as well. So we'll pop them out of the box, take a look at all the parts that it does come with, set up both and take a look at the articulation, overall finish, and then end up with some pros and cons. So pretty much a standard video there, so let's pop them out. There we go. Nice. Now as a twin pack, this is pretty stacked for the packaging. Mecha Godzilla off to the right, Fire Rodan in the bottom left here, Garuda above. We have the additional hands for Godzilla, I think the headpiece, and we have the other attachments as well. I believe we can take off the front armor there, switch it around, and then it's also the attachments for Garuda to go on. I believe the stands are behind Fire Rodan here. I have had a quick little look. It appears I didn't put the packaging on quite properly as some parts have come loose, so I'll fix it up in a moment. But for now, let's take out both of these. Might chuck Fire Rodan on the stand so we can check out that finish along with Garuda as well. Okay, so we've got all three out of the packaging on the stands, and just want to point out that Rodan does come with these two extra parts for the stand, which you can use to clip underneath the wing to give extra support if needed. Though the little bit carousel that he does have seems to work really well. Maybe if you want to put more dynamic pose, the extra supports could come in handy. But yeah, coming into the overall finish for these three figures, Mecha Godzilla himself has a real nice basic metallic color, which I believe is exactly the same as the previous releases. Since I don't have them, I haven't had a really up close and personal look at them. I'm not 100% sure of all the differences, but this does look very similar to the original releases. Garuda itself, it has a lovely metallic-y silver color, but for me the standout color is the white with the black trim and the G-Force writing on it. This is one of the main points that kind of made me really want to pick up this figure, was when I saw these on display at the showroom. It looks really nice, and it seems like we also have some red color in the engines. Yeah, so it's actually got a clear what's that, kind of reddish orangey colour for the engine, which is really cool. Fire Rodan has awesome gradation on the wings, from a deep dark red down to the lighter kind of beigey colour. The colouring for the spine and everything there looks really cool. So overall, I think aesthetically speaking, these are looking really cool. They do look a little bit dated. I mean, it is quite an old figure, mainly the Fire Rodan here, but you know, at an arm's length, he is looking really good despite being a small figure. And I really do dig all the colouring. Let me pop them off here a little bit, so we can see underneath. Again, we have all the different highlights and the lighter colours as well, and the lines on the wings are crisp and clean, so everything there is looking really good. So yeah, let's jump in and check out the articulation, starting with Mecha Godzilla. So starting with the head, left and right, swivel motion is really good. The mouth opens really well actually. The teeth are nice and sharp and it looks really cool. So he does transform. The top part comes off and you can change out the head, which we'll do a little bit later, but I think this will push in and you can kind of adjust and arrange it so he does a flying form, and then this slots down. So he does a bit of a transformation, which we can do a little bit later. So moving over to the shoulders, we have a nice range of motion. Everything goes up and around really well. I mean, he does have a basic design, so nothing will really hinder the motion, which is cool. The elbow is actually pretty decent overall. Nice range of motion there. We get the upper and lower point for the articulation too, so that is nice to see. And then we have a nice standard wrist peg. So overall, compared to a lot of other Godzilla figures, the upper motion on this one is actually pretty nice. But coming into the torso, we get some nice left and right swivel. Now all this can detach, so you can switch out the front parts, which we'll have a look at shortly. So just keep in mind, if you do pull a bit hard, it may disconnect, but that is by design. Now coming into the lower leg and hip area, decent range of motion for the splits, which is pretty good. Going forward and back is overall pretty good actually, so nice motion there. And then the knee joint is pretty limited, but we get a few mil, maybe 15 mil back and forth, so it's not too bad. The feet, we have a nice toe tip motion, and the swivel is good. Now these feel really nice, with a nice die cast feet on this, so he does have a bit of a weight to him, which is great to see. Now for the tail, it is pretty short and stubby, so we only have a couple of points of articulation here, but it does move a little bit. But you know, since he is one of the original releases, some points are definitely a little bit more limited compared to recent releases, though I am actually presently surprised at the range of motion in the arms and legs, so that is really nice to see. So for the transformation, I recommend just keeping your finger on the top part there of the, I guess it's horn, so it doesn't pop off, but you pull this up or down, you can push in those spines and swivel the head, so it's kind of looking directly out, and then this will slot in. From here you can just straighten out the legs, maybe get the tail in the right spot, which is looking okay at the moment, flatten the arms, and then from here, yeah. But yeah, that basically completes the transformation. I think he's underwater. Man, it's been a while since I've seen this part of the movie. Actually, I don't fully remember, but I'm pretty sure he's underwater, jetting along. Yeah, actually, if you guys remember what scene this is from, please let me know in the comments below, because I don't fully remember. But either way, it definitely looks badass. Now, Mecha Godzilla also comes with the battle damage head, so we can pop that horn off. And that comes off, and that should give us access to the eyes, which slot off. Then we can slot them on with the battle damage right eye. Reattach the horn. And yeah, that is cool. Matches up beautifully with Rodan. Actually, one thing to point out, I forgot, he does come with hands which you can switch on and off. Now these other hands are actually designed for the flying mode, because they have, let me get it on, the hands are completely out straight. So if you are going for that flying pose, just remember to switch the hands out to the other ones. Whereas the base ones that he comes with have the slightly curved fingers on him. So the other part he comes with is the blaster, I think blaster grenade. So to get that we can detach the top and bottom part. I think this comes off. Oh, that's a little bit harder than I expected. So you actually need to take the top part off from the inner torso, but for me the legs came off first, though it seems like you can still pop this center cap off and then we can reattach the blaster one on. So either or seems to work. Just keep that in mind if you are trying to take it off, just be a little bit careful, but yeah, either top or bottom joint will do the trick. So the other item which Godzilla comes with is the G Crusher. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. It's the wire ataxia, which is actually a metal bendy wire, which is cool. So very similar to that of Mecha King Ghidorah. So this attaches into his arm like so, I believe. Which way around? I think that's it. So it's definitely a little bit fiddly to get in. It's for the most part in there, but yeah. Oh, nope, that popped out. But you kind of get the point. These will slot in, and you can use it to bend around and, you know, loop around whoever you're fighting, have it attacking Rodan and so forth, which is really cool. So we do get 2 of those, and one can slot into each arm. But yeah, that covers everything which Godzilla comes with. So we'll go check out Rodan's articulation, and then we can attach Garuda onto Godzilla. So starting with the head here, we get a nice swivel left and right. Beak will open as well. There's some little bit sharp teeth in there, which is pretty cool. You can look up, down isn't too bad. The wings itself has 2 points of articulation on the outer wing, then 1 on the main joint here. So yeah, these will move independently, which is nice. But yeah, the articulation here definitely feels a lot better than that of the King of the Monsters Rodan, which I do have. Size wise they do seem very similar, but I feel like the articulation on this one is actually nicer, which is strange considering it's a lot older. But the tail has, about 4 points of articulation, that moves up and down and all the way around really well. And same with the legs. So I've got the main kind of joint there, a little bit more limited, but the knee joint's pretty decent. And then we have the bottom talon. So yeah, overall, I mean, pretty basic. If you have the original one, obviously it's going to be the same. If you haven't had it before, yeah, I'm impressed. For an old figure, it still holds up pretty well, and it's definitely looking really cool. The hands, or not hands, the wing claws do have a little bit of motion as well. Not much, but just a little bit there, which is pretty cool. So now for Garuda, or actually whenever I see Garuda, I always kind of think of my Garuda, dun, 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 or however that song goes. Yeah, am I the only one? If you also kind of think of a weird parody of My Sharona when you see Garuda here, please let me know. It could just be me being weird though. But yeah, the articulation for this is pretty limited. It's basically just the guns which drop down, so it can attach to Godzilla, which we can do now. And to do that, we just pop off the bottom parts here, I believe. Not sure how we get these. Oh yeah, there we go. Kind of get into them. Definitely fiddly to get a hold of. What does it say? 1, 2. Okay, so we need to pop these side bits off first, and we can get the main bottom part. Oh, there goes 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that gives us access to the underside. So for Mecha Godzilla, we need to take off the center spine area here, which should come off somehow. Be nice if there's a button to press to pop all this out actually. So it seems like if you kind of grab underneath, you can pry it off a lot easier. Okay, so that now gives us access to the back of Mecha Godzilla, so we can slot on the additional piece which has the spines missing but the attachment for Garuda. On the underside of Garuda we have a different set of, I guess, attachments, and now these need to go on like so, I believe. Yep, that's it, and that slots in, that slots in, and then now we can slot this on to Mecha Godzilla. There we go, and now, okay, it's ready for battle, and yeah, that is it. That is the transformation. Actually, really easy. It's looking really cool. Oh, actually, I believe, what? Can this move as well? Oh, damn, it can move! Check that out! I did not know that. Oh, that is so cool. It goes up and down. That is badass. You know, I love these little gimmicks. So cool. And I highly recommend looking at the instructions, even if you don't understand Japanese. It will make a lot more sense. Where was it? Where did I see it? Man, I've completely lost it now. It was on there. Oh, here we go. So you can see with the arrow pointing down. I didn't realize you could move it, but just from seeing this, I gave it a try, and yeah, pops up and down, which is really cool. And it does give you full instructions for changing all the parts, transformation, and so forth. So the instructions are very handy. Okay, so for a bit of a size comparison, we have the recent release, Godzilla -1. We also have Kiryu for another Mecha Godzilla comparison, along with the full power Goku, in case you are new to the MonsterArts line. Now, Goku himself here is 1/12 scale, and you can see that, for the most part, the height is very similar across all of them. For the most part, MonsterArts doesn't really stick to accurate scaling. They just try to aim for about this height for most of the monsters, which I think is pretty cool. They definitely look badass all displayed together, and for the most part, the movies aren't really a direct sequel to each other. About King of the Monsters, that one they did keep the scaling between the releases, which was really cool. But for releases like Rodan and Mecha Godzilla, which are from the same movie, the scaling is kept in line, which is cool. Now you will notice that the colouring is quite different actually between the 93 and the Kiryu release. Both silver, but a nice difference in the shading there. I think both of them are really nice. Maybe my preference is Kiryu for not just the design but the colouring. But when you just have the 93 by itself, that silver does look really, really good. So yeah, let's jump into the pros and cons. Okay, so pros and cons. The first pro being, the finish on these looks really nice. In fact, we get battle damage for Mecha Godzilla. We get the effects for Crusher. I think it's a grenade, I think it is in the center there, with all the changeable parts, which is great. We get Garuda, which is looking amazing with that white and silver color. I actually didn't realize this move. I assume it's the same for the original releases as well, but if it is different, please drop a comment below. It attaches really well. The articulation for the gun going up and down is really smooth as well. The overall weight for the figure is nice with the die cast parts, and surprisingly for an old figure, the articulation is pretty good. I expected a lot more of a limited figure, but the leg and arm range is really cool. I like the transforming factor, and I like the transforming features and the additional hands, so you can do that flying or swimming pose, which she has, which is cool. Fire Rodan, the colouring is nice. I think the printing and all the lines are crisp and clean, and yeah, he looks just really cool. And again, the articulation was pretty good on the wings, definitely a lot more than what I expected. And as a new collector, I feel like this type of set is awesome. I didn't have either or, Mecha Godzilla or Rodan, or Garuda for that matter, considering it's a completely separate release with the original one. So for me, this pack was really good. But obviously if you have one of these, then that is a huge con. You're basically buying a duplicate of a figure, just get one of the other ones, and that is a huge downside. I'm not really sure if I agree with this type of release method. I think maybe having them as separate releases would have been nice, to give that option for people that only need one of them. The price point is a little bit higher, but I mean we get like 2 or 2.5 figures. So I think overall on that point it's not bad, and we get accessories which we don't normally get. So that is really nice. I'm not sure if these came with the original one, but I think this is new. But yeah, I need to go back and dig out the old information to double check that. But again, if you have the original one, drop a comment below what you've noticed is new with this release. So yeah, that is it for the review. I hope you enjoyed. Definitely leave a comment below. And who do you want next from the S.H MonsterArts line? Personally, now that I have the 93 Mecha Godzilla, I really want, I think it's the 73 Mecha Godzilla. I hope we get a re-release of him. He is looking good. Or was it 74? Oh, I don't remember now. Oh no, 75? Okay, I need to go back and double check and getting all the years mixed up now. But anyway, that 70s Mecha Godzilla is one I'd love to get. And we have the Space Godzilla re-release coming. I'd like to see a little Godzilla as well, since I don't have either of those releases. But yeah, I will try and get some photos of these up on Insta in the coming days. And if you haven't already, go check out the review for Godzilla -1, and if you have a chance to see the movie and you haven't yet, I highly recommend, because that movie is amazing. So yeah, that is it. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, cheers!